Welcome to our workshop. Sorry, I'm just going to check the settings here, folks. Hopefully everyone can hear me here. I just want to make sure everyone is on board and ready to go. We are very excited to have you guys with us today. Today, we will talk about auto-qualifying leads as agencies. And so, hi everyone, officially, I'm Fred, and thank you for joining us today and welcome to our integration workshop series. It's no secret in today's world of automation and AI that any industry you can think of is seeing huge changes. Education travel is no different. In this series, we're going to focus on some integration fundamentals when it comes to your education business. Try one second. Let me just close a few things here so we don't get disturbed. Okay, sorry. Today's workshop is going to be a first in a series of four. First in a series of four, and we're going to dive right into optimizing lead qualification. I just want to make sure that everyone can see here. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my slides here. I'm just making sure that everyone can see. Sorry. Today's workshop is the first in a series of four, and we're going to dive right into optimizing lead qualification. Sorry, I'm getting pop-up messages here, so I'm going to close that. At Edvisor, we get asked a lot specifically about sales conversion rates. And so I thought this would be a great place to start with agencies to kind of see what we can do, see what agencies are doing, and offer some tips and tricks about thinking about automation and thinking about these things. And that's what this whole workshop, this series is going to be about, okay? So today we're gonna have a little bit of overview. What I'll cover is understanding your customers or understanding your target audience. The next area will be the education sales funnel. And a lot of you people will be very familiar with the sales funnel. We're kind of going to go through it, dive into it a little bit, and think about, again, in terms of automation and how it can relate to, setting your agency up for success when you're talking about your sales funnel and where you can automate. We're going to talk about basics of lead qualifying. What is lead qualifying? And especially some key data. That's an area where we will look at on how to set the base and the foundation of a successful automation and integration. And then we'll go into what you can actually do as an agency right now. Okay. And then we'll just go through a little bit of a summary and to end it off. Okay. So to start off, who am I? Well, hi, I'm Fred. A lot of you guys might know who I am. I kind of go around Edvisor a lot. I'm in the live chat. I'm usually helping support. But I have a confession to make. I'm lazy. I'm very lazy. L-A-Z-Y, lazy. I'm straight lazy. It sounds like I'm joking, but actually I'm not. And before you judge me, hear me out, okay? I believe laziness has led to some of the greatest inventions of mankind. Things that are used in everyday life now, if you think about it, right? Cars, escalators, calculators, those cool sliding automatic doors, the list goes on. I mean, a lot of things that help daily life. And okay, so maybe efficiency is probably the better term for these kind of inventions. But essentially, humans have been always looking for ways to be more efficient in the way that they do things, right? I think when it comes to the robots inside our computers and the fact that we have computers to help us, that's a testament to itself that we're going through that, right? So for me, myself, my background, marketing, sales, customer success. Again, many of you guys may know that I've been with Edvisor for quite a few years. And during that time, we've built automated solutions for Edvisor's user growth. And if any of you guys have been following Edvisor, we've grown quite a bit over the years, and that's come with a lot of growing pains. We have a lot of user base that we have to account for. So we've spent a lot of years building and refining those kind of some automated solutions for that, right? Me personally, I've spent the last 6 years in education technology. And prior to that, 4.5 years in the technology industry in general, working in video games and mobile apps. So technology has always been a really big part of my career and my knowledge base, and learning and expanding as a professional as well. Too. The one thing about me is I'm a super geek about speed and scalability of processes, efficiencies. Again, it goes back to how lazy I am. I just want things to be faster, more efficient, so I don't have to spend all this time doing stuff manually, right? And I'll finish this slide off with just one of my favorite quotes here. It says, "I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is I know nothing. I know nothing." So that's just a bit of my background here, just to give you an idea. So diving right into it, let's talk about the target audience. So who is your target audience? You probably already know. You can think about it in your mind. If you guys, have been in the industry for a while, running an agency, you kind of get an idea of who your target audience is, right? But how much thought do we actually think about, okay, well, what are the trends? What is going on with the students that are coming through, your agency, and how has it changed over the years? Just to start this off is, according to HubSpot, what they have done is run a sales statistic in 2019. And if you don't know HubSpot is an inbound marketing think tank. They are really, really good at providing a product for something like automation as well. But they run a 2019 sales statistics, and some really cool things pop up here. Over 60% of customers or clients, potential clients, want to connect with a salesperson after they've researched the options online. So again, any agencies out there have been at this for quite a few years. That's definitely the shift. You'll see that often. Of those 60%, 7 in 10 of those leads want to discuss only pricing in that first call with the sales rep, because they have done the research. So they don't really need to discover more. They just want to, hey, I want to talk about price. What's going on? Lastly, 9 in 10 companies already use 2 or more lead qualifying tools to learn about their prospects. And I mean, of course, this is in general terms, but if we think about it in education travel industry, it's probably very close to it as well. A lot of agencies have thought about ways, different things that people are doing to use tools to do this kind of prospecting faster, right? So now, if you think about the general group that you're selling to, they're probably just starting their careers or improving their careers, advancing, and then they want to look at, expanding their education. And that's you as an education agent. That's your job. That's what you help these kind of people. And so if we think about the decision makers of those, you're probably looking at millennials. I mean, hey, that's kind of the catchphrase. It's the big term right now, the millennials. And I fully admit I fall under as a millennial. So if we're looking at things about how we can sell to this generation, I feel like, okay, yeah, I'll be completely honest about what I feel as a millennial myself. And you know what? Part of that actually trickles down to possibly Generation Z. Generation Z is, where millennials, like myself, are starting to maybe have kids, looking at kids who are in junior camp type of programs and things like that, right? So it might include that as a customer as well. Generation Z is probably the kids that could even be doing the research to tell their millennial parents, hey, I want to go here, I want to go there. They're so connected with technology, right? That they've never known a world without it, basically, right? So let's go back to millennials, or myself, understanding your millennial customer. Okay, what are some key attributes here? Generation Me is always connected. I mean, who isn't connected these days, right? So the millennial is definitely no different. The generation, the group that grew up with, technology, connected to the internet, right? We value transparency and peer reviews. Speaking for myself, I love Airbnb. I love Uber. Why? Because there's reviews on the drivers, the hosts of these places, and I read those reviews from this community, and I trust it. So when I'm going on, I'm looking at Airbnb. One of the first things I do is I look at the reviews to see. And so that is a big shift of online where people are really trusting the peer reviews and the transparency of it, because, okay, who's hosting, who's the driver, what is your background? That's a big part of it, right? And all of this information is available at our fingertips, right? Going with that, we want our information now, instant gratification. I fully admit I'm totally that type of person. I want the information right now. If I'm on a website and I can't find what I'm trying to look for in a few clicks or in like 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, you know what? I'm out. I'm gone. I'm gone to another website, and of course that always will vary depending on the product I'm looking at and the things I'm doing. But absolutely, I want my information now. There shouldn't, I expect it when I'm looking at my phone. Also, we're comfortable using technology to avoid unnecessary conversation, right? I mean, think about like learning about a destination, in terms of education travel, learning about a city, learning about a country. How can you not do that online these days to learn about those cities? You can even watch YouTube videos of people walking through the cities and things like that. So that kind of information is readily available. And so when you're talking with, travel, for example, I'll go back to the Airbnb example. I'm not going to ask the Airbnb host beforehand, like, how's the city? How's it going? I may ask about restaurants and things like that, but I don't ask I don't need to have unnecessary conversation necessarily, right? But I will use technology to kind of find that information, right? Great. So the education travel sales funnel, and this is jumping into the nitty-gritty, so to speak, of exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Anyone in sales has probably seen this type of a diagram. Most commonly it's referred to as a funnel, right? But sometimes called a pipeline. Okay. So the idea here is to get to the bottom of this funnel, right? As an education agency with the most amount of customers in the least amount of time, right? And in our industry here, time is definitely money, so we need to do it fast. We need to do it without compromising the quality of service that you provide to your clients, right? So just looking at this diagram here at the very top is attracting. So that's marketing. So those are things like your Facebook ads campaigns, even your Facebook page in a way is attracting those clients and potential leads to come in, right? Other email campaigns or other marketing campaigns that you have, that's the top of the funnel. You want to get as many people into that funnel, right? The second one there, we're going to talk about become there, is might be your website landing page, right? So they come into your website from your Facebook ad, your mail campaign, and they then put in their email or their information. They become a lead. They're captured as a lead. Okay. The next step below that, and this step is what we're going to be talking about mostly today in today's workshop, is the conversion rate, the qualifying of your leads. So once someone has already contacted you, how do you know they're serious? How do you know they're ready to buy? And what are you doing to find that information out, right? Below that, of course, is the enrollments. They pay the deposit and all of that kind of goodness. That they pay you money, and that everyone loves that stage. We want to get to that point and get our money, right? So that's the stage after that. And then below that is the referral loop. Return bookings, maybe friends and family that come through that person. So that's very important. And probably a lot of business in education travel might come from this referral loop. So that's very important as well. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about the conversion and the qualified leads and how to set your agency up for a successful automation of this stage. So we're not spending tons of time trying to figure out this stuff manually, right? So qualifying leads with key data. Okay, what is qualifying a lead? Okay, essentially, it's referring to how serious the student is, right? For anyone in sales, qualifying probably takes up like 90% of your work. It's a lot of work. When it comes to students, you're finding out where do they want to go, how many weeks. They want this option. Maybe I want to go to England, but maybe I want to go to the U.S. So all of this time, all this time spent, that's most of the time that you're spending with the student, right? So lead qualifying. So think about right now, the last 10 leads that you've discussed with, right? How much time do you think you've spent with those students to get to the point of sale, right? Are there specific things that automation can even help as well? Okay. Automation options here can address two major things, right? Speed and accuracy. So it's important, very important, to use key data points to use as to convert your leads. You know, when I talk about key data points, we can look at numbers and study details, right? Very specifically. Numbers is in the weeks, number of weeks studied, you know, dates, start dates, things like that. Budgets, you know, how much students want to, you know, what they want to spend. Study details, city and program, you know, very straightforward, right? Now, imagine collecting this data, providing feedback right away to the lead instead of having to wait, you know, and calculate and create information. This goes back to the instant gratification of the target audience, right? It's true. Automation really helps you kind of get to there quickly. So what I say, let the robots do the work for you. You know, once you set up the automation and you have these numbers and stuff, let the automation run it for you, and that will score it for you or whatever. And I'm going to share with you a hidden secret only for you guys, what we do at Edvisor. Okay, don't tell anyone. All right. At Edvisor, how do we qualify our leads? Okay. We actually assign a score leads based on regions of education agencies. I mean, I don't think that's any big secret if anyone has seen us at conferences and things like that. I mean, we focus on regions, not only regions, but how it aligns with our school partners, of course, right? So it makes sense for us to qualify and focus on leads coming from Latin America, Brazil, you know, we're going to Europe, and now we're expanding into Asia, right? These match with some of the schools that are with Edvisor as well. So we're kind of aligning that, and that's how we score it. And so what we do is we score things based on, you know, those key data points. So a high score for us is you know, a language travel or something that we can provide as a service. Right? A lower score, we won't really pursue very much. However, we're always ready to service everyone, but we do have an internal lead scoring system when it comes to that. So like I said, that's a key secret of Edvisor. Don't share it with too many people. So how does it relate to you though, as an agency? Well, as an agency, when it comes to qualifying, you know, I would suggest to think about that similarly, right? Think about the destinations and the type of programs and create scoring rules based on those data points. Okay, so it's fairly simple. You may already be doing that, but maybe not thinking about it in terms of automation and how you can use that to you know, do things automatically, right? So that leads to, what can you do right now? What can you do as an agency? So so number one, look for ways to automatically collect your data. Okay. The major mistake you can make when losing a lead is having to manually record the data. And obviously, you know, when you're doing it manually, you might run into some mistakes. But automation here also helps you save a lot of time, right? I mean, even if you think about, okay, well, I get the lead and I type it into an Excel sheet or something like that, that's still online, digital. Yeah, but you're still, you know, typing and you're still entering this data manually, and you miss a number or you miss a letter in the email, and that prospect or that lead could be gone, right? So really think about that. I really truly believe with all the tools out there, there's no excuse for manual data entry. Yeah, maybe that's just me, but you know, in the next workshop, actually workshop number two, it's called Your Website is a Salesman. I'm going to kind of go into a little bit more about how you can collect this information and stop the manual data entry work. Okay. Number two, create an ideal customer profile. So we talked about the target audience, and you may or may not sell to millennials and Generation Z. A lot of people do. I mean, that's kind of the generation right now when we look at it. But there are so many types of programs that you as an education agency have access to that you can sell. Still, create an ideal customer profile. Even if you make up a name for that ideal customer. You know, what age are they? What do they like to do? What other interests do they have? Where do they go shopping? What are the type of people that they hang out with? You know, even if it's made up, it helps you stay focused on your customers and allows to build a useful lead scoring strategy. right? So this is a less technical thing, but it's a foundation and a fundamental to setting up a successful automation, because you need to be very clear about your strategies, right? Number 3, this is more technical, but collecting the API keys, all of the API keys that you can, right? For whatever apps that you use, you'll need an API key. So you'll hear me say this a lot. And what does API stand for? API stands for Application Programming Interface. And really what it is, it's kind of like a string of numbers and letters that allows applications to talk to each other. And when they're talking to each other, they're sending data back and forth. Edvisor itself, as an example, we have an API, and we can send data and collect data from other programs and other apps, right? So getting your API keys from all the programs that you use is very, very fundamental to automation. So if you can, talk to the apps that you use, the people that the products that you have, try to find those API keys. And if you don't know where they are, just contact them and ask for the API key. Again, in upcoming workshops, I will talk about when is the ideal time or when to use the API keys. But for the purposes of this one, just the only thing you need to remember, collect as many API keys as you can. Okay. Number 4, going back to a less technical thing, but testing, learning, and revise, and then repeat, right? This is a very, very key and fundamental thing, right? Once you set up an automation, or even not automation, just a simple sales process, it's not going to be perfect right away. And if you're not constantly revising, you're not constantly learning and thinking about how you can improve that process, you're going to be stuck, you're not going to be able to improve and get past that. And you're going to think, well, why is my business failing? What am I doing? It's constant. It's not even just in sales processes. Even think about personally, right? Constantly improving, constantly learning and improving yourself. Same thing with the robots inside your computer. You want to always constantly revise and make sure that's running efficiently and you are maximizing, the leads and qualifying that you can, right? And so I will mention here, if you are impatient like me and looking for a proven immediate solution, Edvisor does have a website plugin that allows visitors to create their own quotations. And it was built and optimized based on our own customer research. So if you are interested, just ask me and I'll be happy to tell you more. Okay. So just to summarize, here, the landscape of education technology is changing fast, no doubt. As fast as technology can change, every industry will change, right? Students today have access to data and information that was never available even just 5 years ago, right? All in the palm of their hands, their phones and tablets and things like that, right? So this workshop series aims to give you some of those tips and tricks that can help set your agency up for a successful automation. Okay. And again, what we talked about, make sure you know who are your ideal clients. When you're thinking about setting it up, who are your ideal clients, right? What are the key data points that you want to be collecting to help you qualify, right? Again, this is important to build that structure, to think about a strategy. You need these data points to build a scoring system or some sort of weighted value system to begin, to build an automation process, right? And then how? That's, of course, this is a big question. How can you automate your process to improve accuracy and speed of delivery? And so this one, of course, is a very big question, and it's a tough one to answer. But we hope that in the end of the series, there's going to be 4 workshops like this. At the end of the series, we're going to cover pretty much a lot of the different things that you can automate within your education agency process. So for us, working with thousands of education agents around the world every day, it's given us unique insight. And it's clear to us that any agency that is thinking about being successful, automation and integration is not just an ingredient, in it, but it's a requirement. The way things are going right now, the dinosaurs are going to fall off, right? And, as an education agency, it's not going to be different because your clients are changing as the years go by, as the time goes by, as technology advances, right? So really think about that. So thank you for joining us today on the first workshop that we're having, that we had in a series, again, a series of 4. Stay tuned for an email that will invite you for workshop number 2. And we're going to talk more specifically about your website, and it's called Your Website is a Salesman. Okay. And I'd love to hear your feedback and questions about this workshop, about this series. Are there things that, maybe I didn't cover, or something that you would like to hear specifically? I'd love to hear that feedback, and we would love to design this workshop series and future workshop series around information that people really want to hear. So send me feedback and email at fred@Edvisor at any time, or you'll catch me live chatting on Edvisor. If you're on Edvisor as well. So thanks again for coming out, and hope to see you at the next workshop. So thank you.